Hi, good afternoon. I am James Lim, founder of the Property Plus system, and today I'll be talking about the property price index looking at the first quarter of 2024 to see what is happening in both the HDB and the private market. So for this video, I'll be talking mainly about the prices, where is it trending, and we'll also be talking about the volume transaction and where we'll be heading for the next 1 year. Okay, so let's get on to it. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel on YouTube and click on the alert notification. So looking at firstly at the private property home prices, we will look at the residential price index first, okay? So this is a summary of all the price index all split up, okay? So the first of all, we look at the overall first. The overall over here is actually the orange, the red color line that you can see that there's an increase from 201 to 204. Again, this is the price index, okay? And this is also actually for the total, which includes landed property. So the total increases for the past 1 quarter is actually at 1.5%. Okay, so prices are still being increasing, all right? And then next, of course, we'll look at, you will see that all the price index more or less is been increasing, but however, we will see that the OCR first. OCR is actually outside central region, which actually where mainly Singaporeans are staying, places like Tampines, Sengkang, Punggol, Pasir Ris, Jurong area. So now the prices has actually increased quite slightly by only 0.4%. And of course, if you look at the RCR region, which is the rest of central region, more or less is the city fringe, the price actually only increased by 0.2%. Alright, and of course, if you look at the core central region, the price has actually increased by 3.1%. Now, this graph is actually nothing, it's all expected from me. If you watch my earlier videos, I did expect all these values to be there. Now, why is it so? So if we see last year that time, right, there was actually the implementation of the ABSD, Additional Buyer Stamp Duty, of 60% for foreigners. So foreigners are now no longer buying into Singapore property. And because of that, right, the prices of the core central region becomes suddenly very cheap. Developers want to release prices, release units out there. So of course, you will see that prices over there has always been hold firm between 4,000 to 5,000 per square foot. And yet right now, developers, because they are desperate, they don't want to pay the 60%. Therefore, they are actually selling at 2,800 to 3,000 per square foot. So entering into the market, if the price between CCR and RCR is roughly the same, okay, more buyers will be entering the core central instead, okay? So this leads into the reason why the core central region prices are is actually going up, okay? And now, right now, if you look at the delta between the orange and the gray color, which is the OCR versus the RCR, okay, the delta now actually has increased. Okay, while the delta between the core central has actually decreased. So I will find more value in the RCR and also both the CCR also. So depending on where you are going for, I feel that these two regions is actually better. However, RCR properties are still relatively expensive and it's actually out of the price range between most home buyers, okay? Now, if you look at the demand right now, home buyers are actually quite okay to pay between 2 to 2.5 million. So this is now the acceptable range of the private residential prices. Now, let's look at the expected PSF. So just now I was saying that the outskirts of Singapore, prices are actually expected to be roughly around 2,000 to 2,002 per square foot. So this is actually within the expected range, okay? For RCR, the price is between 2,005 to 2,006 per square foot, and for the CCR, there is a 2,009 to 3,000 per square foot. So what is happening right now for home buyers is that for those who can afford like the 2 to 2.5 million mark, they are actually looking into the RCR area. But then again, when they look into RCR area, they will also look into the CCR to see, saying that if I were to pay a bit more, will I be able to get something of better value that's actually undervalued or at a better location? So this is now this is the area in which they are looking at. So I would like you to focus on actually these two areas, okay? These two are actually the better location. Now, if you look at the volume transaction, last year the volume transaction has been very healthy, above 4,000 to 5,000 mark, basically every quarter for last year, okay? But if you look at this quarter, right, the volume transaction actually dropped to less than 3,500, okay? So which is a 20% drop. Okay, so is this a worrying trend or not? No, I don't feel it's a worrying trend, because due to high interest rate environment, people are a bit more skeptical in entering into 2024. Okay, basically is that people is a bit careful. I would say more careful. That's why there's a total drop in transaction volume. But what I want you to highlight is that drop in transaction volume only tells one story. The other story is that the prices still continue to go up. So with increase of transaction, with decrease of transaction volume, but increasing of transaction prices has actually happened in the last few years. So basically what it means is that for home buyers, they're actually very holding on very firm with their prices that they want. If not, they will not sell. Okay, so only when the buyer able to meet the prices expected by the seller, then there's going to be a transaction. Okay, and this is the main reason why prices are not dropping at all, because home sellers, they are still holding on to the prices that they want. Looking at it, why are they able to hold on to the prices that they want? Because of this thing called TDSR, total debt servicing ratio. Home sellers basically, or homeowners basically, are able to hold on to the price and able to service the mortgage, although that the interest rate is very high. Now, looking at it, my last video, I did talk about the drop of interest rate. So imagine interest rate were to drop. When interest rate were to drop that time, we will expect the prices to actually increase. Home buyers, okay, because of the decreasing interest rate, they'll rather enter into the market, which will definitely lead into the increased volume transaction. Alright, and therefore, because of this issue, I don't look at home prices dropping at all. Now let's look at the HDB. HDB price index has actually been very, very consistent. So if you look at the last quarter, prices actually went up by 1.7%. And if we look at the volume actually increased by 5.5%. Okay, and in short, there is actually a much more increase of overall, there's actually an increase of overall, what's the word I use? Demand of more than 1 million properties. Okay, in fact, there's 2 units that was actually transacted at above 1.5 million for HDB. So this is the upward trend that we'll be looking at. Okay, volume increase. So why is the volume increase? Basically, it's because more and more people are not willing to wait for BTO. They want a resale property. They want it right now. Therefore, they are actually entering the resale market. So I don't expect volume to drop at all. I don't expect transaction prices to drop at all. So here are some of my analyses that actually I did talk about just now. Alright, prices will still continue in an upward trend, definitely. Okay, this is because people will not want to sell at a cheaper price. Why people do not want to sell at a cheaper price? Because they can afford to hold on to their property due to TDSR. Even though rental has been dropping, home buyers are still able to hold on to it. They are not going to decrease the price. Alright. Second thing, price will continue in an upward trend. Okay. Now, why will prices still continue in an upward trend? Very simple. We expect the interest rate to drop. Either should be second half of this year. If interest rate were to drop, home buyers, there will be much more buyers want to enter into the market. They will be more willing to pay at a higher pricing. Therefore, prices will still continue upwards. Alright. Secondly, the volume transaction will increase. Why volume transaction will increase? Basically, is that there'll be much more more interesting launches that will be up and coming in the market, likely in Toa Payoh, Lorong Chuan, One North area. These properties are very near MRT station, and they are actually highly sought after, even Clementi also. So this type of Clementi, Toa Payoh location, right, are where the $1 million HDB are. So if people are able to sell your HDB for 1 million, they definitely will have the budget to buy a residential property for more than 2 million. So I do expect second half of the year, the volume transaction to actually go up. Okay, and just now as I was sharing is that if you are looking for investment, better locations or better projects are those in the RCR or the CCR location, where these are what I call the value buys in it. Alright, and then for HDB, it's very simple. HDB prices are not expected to go down at all. There is always a very strong demand. So how do I decrease the prices? Basically, it's supply demand. So we will only be able to see this thing happen in the next 3 to 5 years, when those units after COVID, you know, the HDB, the BTOs that reaches the MOP period 5 years later after COVID period, which is likely 3 to 5 years down the road, they will go to MOP, which means more supply will enter into the market. Only by then, 3 to 5 years later, when more supply enter the market that time, then there will be more supply in the market, then I will see a more proper trend of normalization of the HDB prices. If not, I don't expect HDB price to drop. Rental will still continue to go up, prices will still continue to go up for HDB. Now, looking into this, for especially just one more thing about HDB, more $1 million HDB will still be expected to be sold, especially in the Toa Payoh, Clementi area. As what I said, the more popular locations, we will still see more interesting prices down the road. Okay, so that's all I have for you today, my analysis. If you want to read more about it or look into the details, you can actually link into my article where you can be able to read more in-depth analysis for what I've been talking, because this is just a very fast sharing. Alright, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up button. Please remember to click and share it, if you think it's helpful. Do feel free to write any comments down and I will definitely answer to you. Okay, that's all I have for you. Thank you so long and bye.